Good morning and welcome to Ebona, the 103.5 FM today, the 6th day of December 2023. Today is Wednesday and the time is a minute past the hour of 7. It's time for newspaper headlines on Ebona, the 103.5 FM. This morning we are going to take you through the news, making the headlines on Nigerian newspapers. But before we do that, let's go for a short break. When we come back, we'll continue on the stories, making the headlines. Please stay with us.
You know that you have the right to quality broadcasting. The National Broadcasting Commission says any person, group of persons, or organization aggrieved by the content of a broadcast or the conduct of a broadcast station may lodge a complaint to the station and write to the Director General, National Broadcasting Commission, number 20, Ibrahim Taiwo Street, Asokoro, Abuja, or send a mail via info@nbc.gov.ng. Please ensure that your complaint includes name of the broadcast station, title of the program, date and time of broadcast, and essence of the complaint. Also, remember to include your name, address, telephone number, email, and append your signature. Note that your complaint must reach the NBC within 14 days of the queried broadcast. NBC, your right to quality broadcasting.
You're welcome back to newspaper headlines on Ebona, the 103.5 FM. This morning, we are going to take you through the news, making the headlines on the Guardian newspaper, Leadership, Vanguard, Punch, The Nation, Daily Post, Sun, This Day, and if time permits, we're also going to take a look at the Nigerian Tribune. Remember that you can become part of the conversation by sending your reactions via SMS or WhatsApp messages on 080-96661035. You can also join us on Facebook as we're live at Ebona, the 103.5 FM. Drop your comments on the comment section of the live video. You can equally stream us online via mixlr.com/gistfm. I am Martin. Let's get started with the Guardian newspaper this morning. Makinde presents 434.2 billion naira 2024 budget to Assembly. Governor Bago canvass establishment of rangers to protect forest reserves, conservation areas. Enugu government to partner federal government on modern terminal rail transport. EFCC presents 76.586 billion naira budget proposal to House of Reps. NHRC canvasses constitution amendment to promote human rights. Kaduna bombing. Army chief apologizes as victims get mass burial. Customs intercept 9 trailer loads of rice, poultry products worth 872 million naira in Ogun. Human Rights Writers Association says cash crunch may ignite revolution. Akeredolu may transmit power to deputy. Ondo PDP insists. Supreme Court dismisses Ihedioha's suit against Uzodimma. Lagos government urges a private sector to address housing deficit. State grown in debts. Poor funding despite 16 trillion naira FAAC windfall. University of Calabar bows to pressure, suspends fee hike. Arraignment of Ibeto MD, other stalls as Lagos AG takes over trial. The Gambia returns 9 Europe-bound stowaways to Lagos. The Gambia returns 9 Europe-bound stowaways to Lagos. Stakeholders canvass continuous innovation to improve electoral system. Oshomole plays NLC for poor negotiation skills. Stakeholders in Lagos, Edo pledge commitment to end gender-based violence. Police in Kwara nab herbalist for sexual assault. Ason. Suspected cultist killed 3 persons in River State. Lagos task force denies killing woman in Abulewa. Embrace innovation, entrepreneurship to navigate complexities. Vice Chancellor charges graduates. Ex-rep Lord's EFCC boss for imbibing rule of law. 50% upsurge in piracy. Maritime crimes worries United Nations. Stakeholders. Senate chides MPA. Customs over $1.68 billion revenue loss. Tinubu won't weaponize ethnicity, religion in government, SGF assures. Police in Imo kill alleged terrorists, recover ammunition. Pengassan threatens local oil firms over violation of labor laws. Red Cross to mitigate impact of diphtheria outbreak. United Nations stakeholders raise concern on 50% upsurge in piracy maritime crimes. Hoodlums attack Lagos Port Road clearance tax team at Tinkan. Kanu Guba 500 lawyers offer services to APC's Gawuna at Supreme Court. Food inflation, party shifting laws, 50% subsidy on agric inputs. EFCC arraigns couple man over alleged land fraud. Obaibena, Izeze, Awoyinfa for them honors. Police in Delta nab 3 suspects for killing Baba. Firms tax on safe space for working mothers. Ministries, departments, agencies, OPHED. 200 billion naira, says MD. Landmark University increased salaries by 20%. Catholic fathers tax government on moral decadence. Funeral rites for Tinuola Aina begin tomorrow. Abia government commits to plight of people with disabilities. Imo women seek support for less privileged families. Reps committee issues warrant of arrest on CBN governor. Others. Education ministers Lord Tinubu over 2024 budget. NAPTIP cautions youth on human traffickers posing as helpers. Imo. Female journalists tax on promotion of gender inclusion in governance, lawmaking. Federal government harps on urgency of collaboration to fight rights abuses. EFCC closes case against 4 defendants in alleged US dollar travelers check fraud. Kaduna bombing. P2B urges military to avoid being an embarrassment to Nigeria. Delta police arrest 2 suspects for stealing church musical instruments. Reps summon DSS boss. Others over attempted forceful removal of Emefiele from Kuje. Reps summon DSS boss. Others over attempted forceful removal of Emefiele from Kuje. Kanu Guba Tozo. 500 lawyers offer services to APC Gawuna in Supreme Court. Federal government to revoke unused oil exploration leases. Supreme Court dismisses Ihedioha's suit against Uzodinma. Abo stakeholders raise concerns over Emefiele's safety, seek ex-CBN governor's release. Emefiele to apply for variation of 300 million naira bail. Tinubu sympathizes with victims, families of Kaduna bombing mishap. Over 80 dead as army admits error in 10th accidental bombing in 2 days. Federal government resume trial of suspected Boko Haram members. That's the much we can take from the Guardian newspaper this morning. And from the Guardian newspaper, we'll flip over to Leadership newspaper. Gender-based violence and supernatural justice. Dolphin drilling cancels offshore contract with Nigerian oil firm. Still on COP28 delegation. Nigeria, Kuwait strengthen aviation ties. Signed bilateral air agreement. US mobilizes 9.6 billion naira worth investments in medium small enterprises. Fintech. Jumia appoints Sunil Natraj as Nigeria CEO. Center 6 global standards for artisanal miners. Cooper unlocks $10 million in credit for customers. Nigeria's trade surplus rises to 1.88 trillion naira in quarter three. TGI Group partners Abu to boost research and innovation. Maximum deposit insurance coverage 1989 to 2020. DMO auctions 4 FGN bonds worth 360 billion naira. All on. GEAPP commits $15 million for 350-kilometer. All on. GEAPP commits $15 million for 350 kilowatts mini grid in Nigeria. Nigeria to revoke 33 unused oil licenses. NUPRC. Federal government moves to tackle illicit economies inability. NCDMB proposes 3 new modular refineries in 2024. 9 mobile boost connection with entrepreneurs at Owerri Fair. UK earmarks £100 million for vulnerable countries tackling climate change. Group laws $34.82 billion investment for Africa's development. Finance Minister seek funding for 2024 budget as Senate once again sabotage. Until many are jailed, violence against women won't stop. Minister. Kaduna bombing. Tinubu, northern governors, others demand probe. Federal government to prosecute gender-based violence in schools. ASU laments exodus of lecturers from public varsities. COP28. Minister, NMPC recommit to lowering methane emissions. Budget comments. Presidency accuses Obi of post-election trauma. Imo. Supreme Court finds Ozokeme 40 million naira over frivolous case. Fox Petroleum offers $2.5 billion annual investment for Nigeria. Israeli forces kill scores of Palestinians in southern Gaza. Obaibena to receive Dame Lifetime Award. Arsenal go 5 points clear on EPL top as Rice secures 7-goal thriller victory at Luton. Alleged attack on Tribunal Sec. SDP exposing own atrocities. Kogi APC. Nine Nigerian stowaways captured at Gambia Sea return to Lagos. Super Falcons book ticket to 13th AWCON in style. Namibians angry over Dubai COP28 trip by President. Game boss 4 children. MPC registers 1.1 million bets in Kanu. Court orders Benin Republic to pay Odua nation agitator Igoho 20 million cefas. Police nab man for alleged murder of farmer in Kwara. Woman killed as police embark on enforcement of Okada ban in Lagos. Kwara court remands herbalist accomplice for alleged rape. Tinubu returns to Abuja after COP28 summit in United Arab Emirates. Lion Messi named Time Athlete of the Year. MPFL slams Katsina United 1 million naira fine for dress code violation. Court sentences ex-soldier to death over murder of Yobe Islamic cleric. EFCC seeks increase of 2024 budget to 76.586 billion naira. ICPC arraigns civil servant for signing off incomplete project. Japa ASU laments mass resignation of lecturers from public universities. That's the much we can take from the leadership newspaper this morning. And from the leadership newspaper, we'll flip over to Vanguard newspaper. Kaduna airstrike. Defense headquarters apologizes, insists terrorists were killed in Lagbaja. Purchase prices rise fastest in 2 years. Stanbic IBTC report. Purchase prices rise fastest in 2 years. Stanbic IBTC report. GDP growth needs strategic interventions, policy support. Commercial partners. Federal government's deficit spending rises 11% to 7.88 trillion naira. Woman killed in as police enforce Okada ban in Lagos. Southeast nightmare of coming home for Christmas. NYSC 7. Don't let our children die in kidnappers' den. Parents beg government. Kaduna airstrike. Defense headquarters apologizes. Insists terrorists were killed in Lagbaja. 2024 budget. Tinubu Chetima is to spend 15.961 billion naira on local foreign trips. Messi named Times Athlete of the Year. UK new visa rules. How they affect Nigerians, other immigrants. 2024 budget. Tinubu Chetima is to spend 15.961 billion. We've taken still on the stories making the headlines on Vanguard newspaper this morning. Construction of fiber optic cables across Nigeria will cost $2 billion. Minister Ondo finances preferred by interest groups over Akeredolu's absence. PDP alleges. Ondo, any political solution not in tandem with constitution is illegal. SAN. Tinubu arrives Abuja from COP28 summit in Dubai. Kanu Guba, NMPP backs appeal court, says Abba Yusuf's not registered member. Don't let our children die in kidnappers' den. Parents of missing NYSC members beg government. Kaduna bombing, regrettable, embarrassment for army, Nigeria, P2B. Government officials signing documents in Akeredolu's name, Ajulo. Uproar over Nigeria's 1,411-man delegation to COP28. Ondo Tinubu asks Ayedatiwa to sign undated resignation letter, Commissioner. Why COVID-19 revaccination is important, World Health Organization. United Nations Secretary General appoints Babatunde Awonsi, resident coordinator in Turkey. Lions Club takes diabetes awareness to Oregon community in Lagos. That's the much we can take from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And from the Vanguard newspaper, we'll flip over to Punch newspaper. Over 9,000 civil servants fail promotion exam. Saraki denies involvement in Kwara failed road project. Rights activist decries marginalization of people living with disabilities. Kogi local government chair auctions government property few days to leave in office. COP28, Tinubu returns to Abuja from Dubai. 12-year-old wins MTN spelling bee. Cabal running Akeredolu government, stealing funds, PDP. Retired police superintendent turns beggar in Niger. North needs credible census to plan well. Nasarawa enrolls 130 Armajilis in health insurance scheme. Kaduna village bombing, death toll hits 120. Villagers allege military bombed twice. Gombe commuters battle rising transportation fare, ride in car. Opebi, Ojota Link Bridge, ready, quarter 2, 2024, Sanwo-Olu. Federal government seeks 35 billion naira to revive Ajokuta Steel. Don't operate beyond midnight. Gombe police warns DJs. Delta police arrest inspector for shooting boy during stop and search. Southeast insecurity can end through negotiation, says Shetima. Federal government promises support for entrepreneurship village project. Kaduna accidental bombing, deeply regrettable. Tinubu. Driver runs over 2-year-old in Ogun. Gombe governor mourns as local government caretaker chairman dies. PHED says ministries, departments, agencies owing 200 billion naira electricity bill. Senate probes customs over 62 billion naira under remittance. EFCC proposes 76.59 billion naira 2024 budget. Federal government seeks 35 billion naira to revive Ajokuta Steel with taking this. 9 Europe-bound Nigerian stowaways deported from Gambia. Ababio warns ministry's department agent ransom. Timeline of accidental bombing by Nigerian military. That's the much we can take from the Punch newspaper this morning. Still on the stories making headlines on Nigerian newspapers this morning, from the Punch newspaper, we'll flip over to the Sun newspaper. 2019 Imo Guba. Supreme Court dismisses Ihedioha's suit to sack Uzodema. Mba presents 521.6 billion naira budget, restates commitment to rapid development. NLC seeks new national minimum wage commensurate with cost of living. NLC seeks new national minimum wage commensurate with cost of living. Tears as victims of Kaduna bombing get mass burial. Army chief visits Kaduna village, apologizes, donates 10 million naira to injured survivors. Christian Association of Nigeria, Sultan, caution against dangerous immigration. Ogun, OSPOHAS, Ilesa Ijebu, inaugurates median SSANIP executive members. We lost 6 drivers in 2 years. Federal government. We lost 6 divers in 2 years. Federal government. Minister attacks radiologist on patients' data security. Stop attacking judiciary over election judgments. APC chieftain cancels politicians. Kaduna lawmaker offers free medical services to 1,000 citizens. WDU convocation, ex-militant emerges best graduating student. Ondo Guba aspirant hails Tinubu over appointment of Akinyeleru Adepoju. Nasarawa women protesters mourn 6 fallen members amidst struggle for justice. Group mobilizes lawyers to defend APC Gawuna in Supreme Court. Renewed hope grant brings joy and financial relief to thousands in Kogi State. Executive Diamond ladies conclude end of the year get together with renewed energy and purpose. National Association of Nigerian Students' new president, Obi, demands justice on death of Ebonyi. Bauchi Ogun students condoles with families. Group warns against selective demolition of Igbo property in Lagos. How Canon helped Solalina Studio become catalyst for community engagement. How Canon helped Solalina Studios become catalyst for community engagement. 2024 budget. Coalition laws Speaker Abbas Bishi's transparent role in execution. 16 days of activism. Center launches Dear Tech project to tackle gender-based violence. MFLA. Nigerians in US raise alarm over human rights violation. Plug Music. PRS. Train songwriters on copyright monetization. Bigley Group sponsors football tournament for Okeja indigenes. Renewed hope. Civil society organizations Lord Mining DG on agency transformational drive. Group hails Ayo's re-election as chairman, Delta State National Union of Road Transport Workers. Chief Abraham Oti gives 10 homes, radiates hope among needy families. Customs officer becomes first Nigerian woman to ride bike to 13 African countries. That's the much we can take from the Sun newspaper this morning. And from the Sun newspaper, we'll flip over to Daily Post newspaper. Show the world there is ability in disability. JONAPWD to members. French Embassy partners EFCC on cyber crime war, intelligence sharing, cost of governance. Tinubu government under scrutiny over Dubai summit. Gombe. Governor Yahaya mourns as local government caretaker chairman dies. Reps issue warrant of arrest on CBN governor, AGF, others. PDP urges Akeredolu to hand over power to deputy governor Ayedatiwa. Ekiti's spelling bee champion Flourish Ajibola arrives Uganda for World Championship. UK government issues update on visa requirements for immigrants. Kogi. Bello announces creation of Humanitarian Poverty Alleviation Ministry. Frustration forcing many lecturers to relocate abroad. University of Ibadan Associate. A noble Nigerian, Tinubu sends message to Yakasa at 98. Apologize. Retract your statement that women are witches. Group tells Oni of Ife. That's the much we can take from the Daily Post newspaper this morning. Still on the stories making the headlines on Nigerian newspapers from the Daily Post newspaper, will flip over to the Nation newspaper. Federal government eyes concessionary loans, climate financing to fund the 2024 budget. Elders to resolve Benue APC crisis. Army explains accidental drone attack on villagers. Usodema, Supreme Court slams 40 million naira cost on Uzokeme. Timeline of accidental bombings in Nigeria. Withdraw all intra-party litigations. PDP directs members. Oshomole knocks government for borrowing from 11 trillion naira pension funds. How we suddenly became widows, orphans, childless by survivors. 389 incidents of crude oil theft recorded in 14 days. Makinde, Mba, Obaseki, Aliyu present appropriation bills to assemblies. Still on the stories making the headlines on the Nation newspaper this morning. Presidency fires Obi over comments on VP's residence. President returns to Abuja from COP28 outing in Dubai. Tinubu celebrates veteran politician Yakasa at 98. Tinubu celebrates veteran politician Yakasa at 98. National Drug Law Enforcement Agency allows a public on online sale of substance drugs. 2024 budget defense keep to schedules or be sanctioned. Akpabio warns ministries, departments, agencies. You are listening to newspaper headlines on Ebona, the 103.5 FM. We'll now go for a short break. When we come back, we'll continue on the stories making the headlines on the Nation newspaper. Please stay with us.
Ọ ga-adịkwa egwu ndị Love Bite Foods and Beverages Limited n'Obe na-ekpokọba asọmpi egwuregwu bọọlụ ga-adị n'etiti obodo 17 dị na Idemili North and South Local Government Area. Bọọlụ ga-adị n'etiti obodo 17 dị na Idemili North and South Local Government Area, Anambra State. Obodo ndị a ga-aga debanye aha n'aka ndị na-ekpokọba nyaba asọmpi n'efu. Ha ga-ewere fọm n'isi ụlọ ọrụ ndị Love Bite Foods nke dị na Nnobi ma wechighata ya opekata mpe ụbọchị ọnwa Disemba ga-adị na mkpụrụ ụbọchị 12. A ga-enye obodo ọbụla ga-esonye na asọmpi a ego dị 200,000 naira iji wee kwado nke ọma. Ihe nrite nke mbụ 2 million naira, ihe nrite nke abụọ 1 naira, nke atọ 500,000 naira. Ọ ga-akpọtụ na Central School Field Umuru Nnobi malite na 24th wee rute 31st December 2023 dịrịkwa na 1st January 2024. A ga-ekwupụtakwa 2023 dịrịkwa na 1st January 2024 a ga-ekwupụtakwazi ihe ndị ọzọ gbasara asọmpi a n'ọdịnihu. Mgbakpọ ekwentị a 07033885866. Onye binyere aka n'ọkwa bụ Mr. Christian Abajuo, Head of Marketing and Brand Development, Love Bite Fruits Limited, Nnobi. Love Bite Fruits and Beverages Limited Nnobi abịagokwa n'ọzọ. Nke agba bụ iji wee kene ndị niile na-azụ anyị afịa na imekwa ka steeti anyị dị ọcha. Ngwa chịkọta akwụkwọ nkechi achịcha ya bụ nylon wrappers nke eji wee kechie Love Bite bread mkpụrụ 50 pieces only. Ka anyị were ego dị puku naira 10,000 naira wee machie gị akpa. Ngwangwa ị na-achịta ya, ngwangwa na-amachi gị akpa aka ọkụ. Chijere distributor ọbụla nọ gị nso maọbụ bịa n'onwe gị n'isi ụlọ ọrụ ndị Love Bite Fruits and Beverages Limited nke dị n'Imuru Village, Nnobi. Ihe nrite n'ụwa ga-amalite ụbọchị Fraịde abalị mbụ n'ọnwa Disemba afọ 2023 wee kwụsịkwa ụbọchị Satọde n'abalị 23 n'ọnwa Disemba. Chai, ka ị na-achịta ka ị na-erite. Love Bite Bread, rie ihe dị mma ma bụrụ onye dị mma.
Mbona maka this boy ana wengi. Dada ni nsogbu.
Epona the 103.5 FM. Nabakuwa production. Police for vigilante.
Not my business.
When I will tell you SGJ radio drama, there we go. AJ radio drama, Eriko, Ghana Dialogue, every Monday, 8 o'clock p.m. with a repeat broadcast on Saturday, 3 o'clock p.m. That's upon 103.5 FM.
If you move and finish your business,
Amara ni lewa di amo. Ko suna ka do na na ko na ne ri ko na ye. Nke ka ku ke wona na ma mu suna ya ma ule si.
Epokwana ka call dinka call. A lot of people complain about not using their talents the way they want to. Utilize this opportunity today. Are you an aspiring actor, musician, dancer? Here is the opportunity you have been waiting for. Register with Babowa Production at Ebona the 103.5 FM today to make your God-given gift money-making venture using your God-given gift today. For more information, call 08039167049. Don't miss out on this opportunity. How best can we talk about the challenges we are having on our streets, our community, our society in general? Street report. If we do not address these challenges on Ebona FM, who will? As the happenings around us get as complicated as they can be.
Government, whatever.
Street report is here to make sense of it all. Street report is causing social change across your streets. In your community. Street report is here with hardcore journalism to get to the roots of our problem. Why don't you join me, Martin number the first every Friday, 4:30 p.m. on Epona 105 FM as Street Reports unfolds
in your face
on Emas in Epona the corner
24/7, 24/7.
You're welcome back to newspaper headlines on Ebona Day 103.5 FM. Remember that you can become part of the conversation by sending your reactions via SMS or WhatsApp messages on 080-96661035. You can as well join us on Facebook as we are live at Ebona Day 103.5 FM. Drop your comment on the comment section of the live video. You can equally stream us online via mixlr.com/gistfm. We are on to the Nation newspaper. 2024 budget defense, keep to schedules or be sanctioned. Akpabio warns ministries, department, agencies. Terrorists abduct 8 passengers in Niger. Soldiers get death sentence, imprisonment for killing Islamic cleric. OPB, Ojota Link Bridge ready quarter 2, 2024, says Sanwo-Olu. 500 private lawyers to defend Gawuna at Supreme Court. Federal government to prosecute sex, gender violence in schools, says Fabwemi. That's the much we can take from the Nation newspaper this morning. And from the Nation newspaper, we'll flip over to This Day newspaper. Ex-NNPCED doubts much awaited Port Harcourt refinery will work this December. Senate commends Ibe, says no infractions in 250 billion naira gas fund probe. Federal government flags off cash transfer to vulnerable groups in Kogi. Mba presents a 521.5 billion naira disruptive growth budget. Makinde 434.2 billion naira economic recovery. Obaseki 325.3 billion naira finishing strong. That's still on the stories making headlines on This Day newspaper. Food security. Federal government laments uncultivated 50 million hectares of arable land. Diphtheria outbreak. Red Cross decries disinformation campaign against vaccines. Members urge ICANN to sponsor bill on budgetary reform. Ndoka Obaibena to receive lifetime achievement honor at DEM Awards. Federal government flags off cash transfer to vulnerable groups in Kogi. Minister NMPC says Nigeria committed to low methane emissions list measures. Minister NMPC says Nigeria committed to lower methane emissions list measures. Foreign reserves decline by $4.07 billion in 11 months as CBN clears FX backlog. Ax Onyagu moves to strengthen Zenith Bank International operation. Makinde presents 2024 budget. Education gets largest allocation. Customs vow to improve detection mechanism for indigenous concealment. Balogun charges facility managers to improve operational model. Indomie shines at ADVAN African Awards 2023. That's the much we can take from This Day newspaper this morning. And from This Day newspaper, we'll flip over to Nigerian Tribune. Chaotic park takeover era gone as National Union of Road Transport Workers conduct peaceful elections. VCDF promotes innovation among students for sustainable future. Federal government intensifies fight corruption against DSS boss. Group condemns killing of 500 level ATBU students. Lawmaker kicks off medical health outreach in Ebonyi. Oyo 2024 budget. Education gets largest allocation with 20.88%. Federal government assures stakeholders of faithful implementation of education roadmap. Pastor Adeboye to grace 24th sound of Ogbomosho's land coronation. Governor Makinde awards Yekini Adojo GRA project under PPP scheme. Nigeria's Jonathan, Liberia's Were, 5 African presidents who lost re-election. Federal government flags off cash transfer to vulnerable groups in Kogi. That's the much we can take from the Nigerian Tribune this morning. That will also mark the conclusion of all that we have for you on this particular edition of Newspaper Headlines on Ebona, the 103.5 FM. We will now flip over to our WhatsApp portal to bring you more reactions. On our WhatsApp portal this morning, we have this message coming from Comrade Manli Oduago from Odumobosi, and he says one of the primary aims for the adoption of federalism in a heterogeneous and ethno-religion entities like Nigeria is to enhance cohesion and unity, considering the fact that a federal system of government is merely an association of various ethnic nationalities. Till date, national cohesion and unity have remained elusive and possibly an utopian dream. I make bold to say we cannot achieve unity without abandoning our phobia for unity, and in the same vein, we cannot fulfill our manifest destiny without achieving unity. May God help us in our journey to true nationhood. Comrade Manli Oduago from Odumobosi, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have this message. This one is coming from Christian Ufondo. No, this one is coming from famous Christian. He's joining us from Ifite Village, Aguluz Izibo, and he says, okay, thank you so much for joining us. Now we have this one, a message. This one is coming from Christian Ufondo from Onisha, and he says, which angle did Kaduna bombing come from? Was it from Nigerian Air Force or from an external enemy of the country? The above question should be expected to hear from those in authority, not jumping from pillar to pole and thereby deceiving the citizens. He continued and says, Southeast should not have been nightmare for coming home for Christmas if the governors and those in authority in the region had done what they had been expected of. They know exactly what to do, but because in one way or the other, most of them are the brain behind the insecurity. Okay, I know. And then he continued and says, if Nnamdi Kanu is released now, the problem of the insecurity in the Southeast will be put to a minimum. But because of their stiff neck, they refuse to do the needful, and that is why we are in the mess. Okay, thank you so much. This morning, we have a message coming from Akedi Amoke, Onyana Bana Umunachi, and he says the money allocated on this is coming from Akedi Amoke, Onyana Bana Umunachi. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have this one. It's coming from Pauline Muizu from Onitsha, and he says police kidnappers in Rivers showed how they killed so many people and put their bodies in the river. They are the people you will ask to conduct search for missing persons. It's abomination. God is watching. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Pauline Muizu from Onitsha. We have this message coming from Ndubiso Kafo from Umweza Umunachi, and he says, experimenting with human lives, evil and barbaric. How can military bombard 150 communities in Kaduna that claim the lives of over 120 persons, and it is timed mishap? Those that perpetrated the heinous crime must be punished to serve as deterrent to others. This is embarrassment and disgraceful conduct to army and Nigeria in general. More so, Japa syndrome that escalated to lecturers is a very bad development to Nigeria. Federal government should, as a matter of urgency, address this menace. This is coming from Ndubisi Oka from Umweze Umunachi. Now we have this message. It's coming from John Ume from Okozo, and he says there is no day that passes that Nigerians will not hear one bad news or the other under this government. How can killing almost 100 people by our Air Force be a mistake? Again, taking for 1,000 APC chieftain for a jamboree in Dubai was an act of wasting our resources in a country that is world's capital of poverty. Also, putting the presidential jet for sale is an indication that this government will very soon begin to sell our national assets to highest bidders. My take is that it is high time Nigerians will wake up from their slumber and begin to ask questions about the wasteful spendings of this unprepared government of Tinubu, and he says an APC that has succeeded in making the lives of Nigerians miserable. John Ume, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have this message. This one is coming from Waloto Patrick from Monteja, and he says, I think it's enough for the Chief of Army Staff to apologize. And then he says, for the mistake of the army officers that bombed a village in Kaduna State, where over 80 innocent civilians were killed. In my opinion, I think what the Chief of Army Staff would have done was to resign honorably as obtained in advanced countries, but since he chose not to resign, Tinubu should have booted him out. Similarly, the team of army officers that carried out the operations should be subjected to orderly trial, and any of them that is found culpable should be made to face the full weight of the law. and that will help to forestall future occurrences of such a national embarrassment to the nation. May the souls of those that were killed in that army unfortunate bombing rest in peace, as a mass burial is being organized for their remains. This is coming from Waloto Patrick from Munteja. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have a message coming from Agonabo, Naofa Aguluzibo, and it says our army are completely disgrace, and some of the development world will be imagining the type of army we train. May the soul of people, our gallant soldiers killed, rest in peace. Amen. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have this message. It's coming from Engineer Ebuka Joshua Dawson. He's joining us from 33, and he says, I sympathize with the victim of Kaduna bombing, the families. And he says, kudos to Nigerian Labour Congress as they enter negotiation of a new national minimum wage in 2024 based on the prevailing cost of living in the country. Kudos to the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu as he disclosed that OPB Ojota Link Bridge would be due for inauguration by the second quarter of 2024. It's a welcome development. From Engineer Ebuka Joshua Dawson, joining us from 33. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have this message that says, good morning, my name is, it's coming from Ebuka, Engineer Ebuka from Amawa Obunike, and he says, why will Nigerian government keep silent on kidnapped copper? Do that mean our government are not functional again to fight insecurity in the country, or we should lose faith in them? He continued and says, destroying the houses of Ndibo in Lagos so that there is no law has one Nigeria. Ndibo should come back home and invest. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have this message. This one is coming from Comrade Ibudu from Abakan, and it says everyday news, death and killings dominate. Aside from that, we still hear about loan collection, no achievement, no development. I want to let people know that Liberia, UK, US, Italy, or any other country will not come to better our country until we are ready to do that by ourselves. Let us have the patriotic feelings. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Comrade Ibudu. We have a message coming from Jomag from Mukole Zunaka GRA, and he says, Army Chief visits Kaduna village, apologizes, donate 10 million naira to injured survivors. It's a welcome development, but what punishment goes to those that carry and implement the orders? Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Jomag. Now we have this one. It's coming from Obiora from Okozu, and he says, Tinubu sympathized with the family killed by army bombing. It's a shame that the Nigerian professional army did not know their citizen and the terrorists. And he says, when Buhari integrated terrorists into Nigerian army, what did you expect? Nigeria became worst country under Buhari. And he says, this is the second time, or this is the second or third time Nigerian army has bombed an innocent citizen, and then it only end up like that because life is valueless to the said government and Nigeria and to Nigerians, and to me, without being told, there's ongoing secret religious and ethnic war in this country called, and he says army sentenced to death for killing Clark, and he says, please, how many army will be killed for bombing a village? Is a shame. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and now we'll flip over to our SMS portal to see if we can get you more reactions. As we await for network on our SMS portal, let's flip over to our Facebook portal. And this morning we have this message coming from Tonwa Praise, and she says, okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Tonwa Praise. Now we have this message. It's coming from Dr. Mrs. Mma Olebara from Owerri, and she says this budget is very unrealistic and should never be passed. How can we borrow to finance this frivolous budget? Why can't this government cut down high cost of governance? I tire for this country. Under no circumstance should that unnecessary crowd have gone for that COP28. Think of it, not even the president's address was read. This government must understand in unequivocal terms that it is only there to serve the crucial needs of the hemorrhaging people that voted it into power. Now we also have this message coming from Mma Sinachi Angel, and she says, Mma Kenneth Elusia. Okay, he says kudos to all those. Okay, he says kudos to all those lecturers who found their way out of this country. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Back on our WhatsApp portal, we have this message coming from Valentine Edene from Mpo, and he says, I want to ask this morning the agenda of Mr. Tinubu, because I do hear is Tinubu celebrate, Tinubu travel, Tinubu this, Tinubu that, without execution in any project or implementation of basic necessities in this country. And he says, where are we heading to, Nigerians? Should I call Tinubu ceremonial president or what? Valentine Edene from Mpo. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And with that message from Valentine Edene from Mpo, this is the spot where we'll call it a day on this particular edition of Newspaper Headlines on Ebona Day 103.5 FM. Remember, it comes your way weekdays in the morning once it's 7 o'clock. So keep a date. But don't touch the dial of Ebona, the 103.5 FM once it's 8:20. We'll be back with Birthday Splash. Until we meet again, I am Martin. Have a fabulous morning.
Mba maka this boy ya na-agba egwu. That guy na-enye nsogbu.
Ebona dị 103.5 FM. Nabakowa production. Police for vigilante. My business. When I will tell you SJ radio drama, Erico. AJ radio drama, Erico, Ghana Dialogue every Monday, 8 o'clock p.m. with a repeat broadcast on Saturday, 3 o'clock p.m. Now, Ebona, the 103.5 FM.
If you move and finish your business,
Amara m ibe nwa dịrị ahụ ụbọchị m na-aga n'obodo m na-anụ akọ na ya na-erikọ n'ahịa nke ka dịkwa nke bụ na ana m ahụzikwu n'anya ma ọ bụ n'eziokwu.
Ekwekwala ka akọlụ dị nke akọlụ. Complain about not using their talents the way they want to. Utilize this opportunity today. Are you an aspiring actor, musician, dancer? Here is the opportunity you have been waiting for. Register with Babu Production at Ebona 103.5 FM today to make your God-given gift money-making venture using your God-given gift today. For more information, call 080-3916-049. Don't miss out on this opportunity. How best can we talk about the challenges we are having on our streets, our community, our society in general? Street report. If we do not not address these challenges on Ebonadi FM, who will, as the happenings around us get as complicated as they can be.
Our government, whatever.
Street Report is here to make sense of it all. Street Report is a social change across your streets. In your community. Get to the roots of our problem. Why don't you join me, Martin Ifan KCSR number the first every Friday, 4:30 p.m. on Ebonadi 103.5 FM as Street Reports unfolds.
In your face.
On Emas in Ebonadi corner
24/7.